hands are consistent, your game can go anywhere. Align Max, our newest raised ridge technology designed to keep you and your game locked in on every shot. Only from Golf Pride. Respect the grip.
Welcome into the Wagyu Filet podcast here on 5 Clubs. Johnson Wagner, Brendan DeYoung. We've got a special guest today. It is 5 Clubs' very own Gary Williams. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a dive into the FedEx playoffs, starting with Memphis, onto the BMW at Caves Valley in Maryland, and then finishing up, as we always do, at East Lake for the Tour Championship. Gary, Brendan, nice to be in with you guys today. Gary, where would you like to start on this little preview?
I love it. I love you talking to camera. It makes my day. You know what? You guys came on the show, did the whole show, and the first segment, I asked you a bunch of questions. I'm like, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. I'll tell you where I want to start is what I think Scottie Scheffler has done, which is, I think, create a persona that is growing beyond just golf. I think because of what he said at the Open Championship, it drove the conversation. Tom Brady is saying, oh, no, you can, and I think that's good. He's not looking for celebrity. He's not looking for attention. Separation and dominance creates attention. And if Scottie Scheffler goes out and wins Memphis, and it's like, holy cow, here we go, and that's 5. And let's say he goes to Caves Valley and he wins again. That's 6. And it's like, this dude is a machine. I think the best thing is for somebody, him specifically, to dominate this series. That's what I want to see.
Well, unfortunate for Scottie Scheffler, Brendan has already made him his pick for the Memphis tournament.
As soon as I saw that, I went, can I change mine?
So I think that we're in a little bit of a flux situation, because what you've said would be the dream scenario can't physically happen given his season of picking this year.
But he's on a roll. He got Matt Fitzpatrick finishing 8th.
Was that your first top 10 of the year?
I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Yeah, well, it wasn't my first top 10 of the year, but it was one of very few. I'm with Gary there on Sheffler. If he can run the tables through these playoffs, I mean, good Lord, the storylines. Yes, he is by far the most dominant player in the game, by far the most dominant since Tiger. I said for the longest time, everybody's playing their best golf. Nobody's going to beat Rory McIlroy. I think I'm ready to rescind on that. I'm ready to go back on that. Scottie Scheffler right now, I mean, it's unbelievably good.
I mean, the only people we could put in the same category since Tiger would be Rory, Spieth, Koepka.
It's tricky.
Yeah. But my point is, and Justin Thomas even, none of them had the consistency of, you just said it, 16 top 10s. If he top 10s out, these 3, and then are they playing? We need to get into. Are they playing Napa this year before leading into Bethpage? So there's another opportunity there for him. I just, the consistency that he's shown in the last 3 years is unlike anything we've seen but Tiger.
For sure, there's no doubt. It's interesting, those guys you mentioned, because Koepka has 5 majors. He's in such an unusual category because his production relative to what he's done in these big moments is so modest. Whereas Scheffler, like Tiger, there's this relentlessness of, don't ever think that any week is going to be a week that I'm just going to turn up. Because it goes back, Brendan, to last year. He hadn't played at all, and he goes to the Hero. And I don't care if it doesn't count. They do give world ranking points still. Tiger always showed up at his own event and won it. And it said something to me that I play broke no matter what the consequences or the conditions or circumstances are. He hadn't played any golf in almost 90 days, and he went there and he blew the field away. That to me is like, the dude is different.
I was going to say that. Gary said this a few weeks ago, that Scottie's got this ability to play every single round of golf like he's poor, like he's on the bones of his ass. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable quality to have.
I mean, he made $63 million, and I heard last year, and I heard that he just recently, within the last 6 or 7 months, got off of his parents' cell phone plan. I think Dad, Scott Scheffler, pulled him aside and said, Scottie, I think it's time for you to get your own cell phone plan. And Scottie's like, well, why? So I mean, he had that old beat up Yukon forever. Like the simplicity in which he lives his life and what's important to him. That's what makes him so different.
The other thing that as we look out on the horizon, it's amazing how much can change in 4 years. When he was at Whistling Straits, he had yet to win on the PGA Tour. He gets Rahm on Sunday, who'd been the man of the match, and he dusts him off. And that was almost like a precursor to what we had no idea what we were getting ready to embark on as far as what he's done. Whether he wins one of these or if he wins all three, he's now such a pelt. If somebody takes him down on Sunday singles at Bethpage, think about that. Look, there are no big upsets in golf. It's 18 holes, anything can happen. But Scheffler's become such a mark. What if Rory and Sheffler play Sunday singles at Bethpage? You talk about that's Ali Frazier, man, is it not?
Yeah, it would be incredible. I mean, they won 3 of the majors this year, so it would be the best Sunday singles lineup I could imagine in recent history.
What? So we start with him. Look, I think there are so many stories. Anybody who gets to the playoffs, guys who are on the back end of it, who've come off. We were talking on the show. Bud Colley's a great story. Chris Kirk, who was in a no man's land at the end of May, beginning of June. The Rory thing. Did Rory get right-sized at Portrush? Is he right-minded now, where he is in 2 playoff events, can be a real factor? Eastlake's been good to him.
Go for it.
I think so. I think we saw a really weird Rory at the PGA, refusing media, all the way up until Saturday at the U.S. Open when he gave that interview, and it was almost like he was a hostage. And then the next morning, I think he saw that. And the next morning, he did a pre-round interview with Kara Dixon on the first tee, and he looked like old Rory. He sounded like old Rory, and then the whole week at the Open Championship, he seemed like he was taking joy from, I mean, I was out there watching him a bunch. The amount of people and the support, every step he took, there's people yelling for him. So I think he kind of realized maybe he needed to take a step back and see it from a bigger picture and be the person he's always been.
He did. He looked like he absolutely loved the home open for him there at Portrush. I still wonder, like, is he going to come back? Is he going to be enthused with these playoffs? Does it really mean anything to him, or is it, all right, it's an obligation to come play these? I'm interested to see. We'll get a pretty quick pick on that when we see him at the BMW.
It's when he got the haircut at the Scottish, and first of all, his explanation of why he got his haircut was so nonsensical. He said, "Oh, my gray hair was showing." I figured, hey, dude, every gray hair shows the closer you cut it. But he said, my hair will be right at the Ryder Cup. Like, he didn't say it'd be right at the playoffs, and he's taking a playoff event off. I think that speaks to, like, where is the motivation? Look, the FedEx Cup playoffs have been very good to him. He's had big moments. The playoff win against Ryan Moore, I thought, was one of the more emphatic images of his career outside of major championship wins. He's got a lot of golf he's going to play between now and the end of the year. And look, to his credit, he's going to India, man. He's going to Australia. That's great for global golf and the advancement of the professional game in corners of the world that don't get to see the best players. But I wonder, like, is he ready to buckle up that chin strap and try to throw a haymaker to Sheffler? I don't know.
If Rory all of a sudden was told these 2 playoff events aren't going to happen, I don't think he would care less.
Is that fair?
I completely agree. I completely agree. I think once he gets to Eastlake and if he has a chance to win, I think he'll be there. I'm completely with you. It's an obligation, and it's sad that that's the state of where we've gone, is that our stars feel obligated to play the playoffs. And I mean, we can argue back and forth if the playoffs do anything for the PGA Tour. Do they do anything for the fan? Do they drive fan engagement, or could you? Because I was on site at Memphis and Atlanta last year, and it's so hot. There's no buzz. There's 30 players. They're playing 5-hole practice rounds. Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a ghost town out there, and it just doesn't feel like there's the buzz that it should for being.
Agreed.
The playoffs I would put right behind the Players' Championship as far as PGA Tour properties.
Yeah, I think anything that's new there's a curiosity. But the truth is, the series was created primarily for one guy, and secondarily because he had a foil, it was Tiger and Phil. They drove the idea that we can carve out an audience in football season. At the beginning of this football season, when this series started, and it was played in September, and those guys are not part of this anymore. And can the two biggest stars, one who doesn't care about celebrity, and the other one who I think is ambivalent about the series to a degree, they can't by themselves. So it begs the question of Brian Rolapp, so what do you do? Where do you go with all this? Because it's a ton of money that these various companies are fronting for these purses and these bonus pools. And if you got people who love it as much as you guys, and me too, going, yeah, I don't know. What do you do?
There's an excitement in the playoffs, those last couple holes when you're watching guys go in and out, bogey drops you out, birdie puts you in. Outside of that, it's another golf tournament. It's no different.
So do you entertain the idea? And this is tricky and it's tough. And the last thing I want to be is insensitive to the memory of Tom Cousins, who just passed. That man is a very important historic figure in golf, specifically men's professional golf. The revitalization of a neighborhood, the advancement of lives that would otherwise have been cast aside in the greater metro Atlanta area. Eastlake I think it's challenging as far as the environment, as far as the climate, the atmosphere. I think the same holds true for Memphis, to the site of where FedEx, that is their home. Why not explore the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast and get some primetime hours and show some venues that would otherwise not see the light of day?
Because the BMW does move around.
They do.
And it's sad it's not in Chicago
Correct.
always, because it's the old Western Open. But when they go to Caves Valley, they're going to go to a community around Baltimore
Gonna be lathered up.
hasn't seen golf. Last year at Castle Pines, lathered up, and I think that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But when you talk about Memphis and that's FedEx home, Coca-Cola for the Tour Championship. But I will have to say, Andrew Green did a marvelous job around Eastlake, so I'm excited to see it this time around. But there's not so much you can do for a boring golf course. It's just long par 4 after long par 4 and uninteresting par 3s after uninteresting par 5s. It's not an interesting place that provides a ton of drama. I think Eastlake as a whole is just, it would be a great place to go play as a member all the time, but for a championship golf course, I don't think it is what we should be hosting our Super Bowl on.
How about format-wise? I know that at the beginning of the year it was Gabby Herzig who was the first to report that there was conversation about the institution or the implementation of some match play, and that got shelved for the time being. Match play is a poison pill for television. Partners don't necessarily want it. Is that another thing that should be looked at as far as how many? And can we almost do like a quasi-Western Amateur, which was the ultimate gauntlet of stroke play to match play, and get down to 4 or 8 and resolve it that way? Can you do that on a final day?
Exactly. I don't have the answer to this one. I do like the format change to where we are now. I hated the strokes, the starting ahead. You had a good regular season, so you're going to start ahead. And I don't have the perfect answer for this one. I don't think anybody does right now, otherwise we'd be doing it.
Yeah. I think, look, when you declare something playoffs, we associate it with playoffs in all these other sports. But the truth is, only one person wins a golf tournament, and so many of these guys are advancing. So why not just let it be whatever it is? And I think one of the most reasonable things is just start them at 0.
Yeah.
And just let somebody win a golf tournament. And it is what it is. We know who had the best year. The Patriots went undefeated. They had the best season, but the Giants clipped them. Damn right they did. In Glendale, Arizona. So I just think the other thing is back to what you said about Chicago. Get back to the places that matter.
New York,
the
Boston,
Northeast
Chicago,
corridor.
Philly.
Like Philly, we're going to get Philly next year for a major, but Philly, New York, Boston used to be the Deutsche Bank. That place was in Norton, Mass. Was jacked up every year. I don't understand it, and why not try the West Coast and get some primetime TV?
Well, you hit it, it's sponsor dollars.
Yeah.
If Memphis isn't going to give up that event, they're not even going to, they wouldn't even move it. The FedEx St. Jude Classic, it would be great if they'd move it every other year, go someplace that was, and then come back the following year or something. There's got to be some way to give it a little bit of light, just because, man, The buzz is just flat at the two.
I'll tell you and we talked about this on the TV show, the thing that is driving the interest in these three events is another event, and it's the Ryder Cup, and it's the ramifications of results on that roster. And when I say that roster, all three of us agree that Europe's bringing Rome to Bethpage, with the exception of substituting one Højgaard for the other. The United States Ryder Cup roster is the driving storyline of these events. That's just the damn truth, is it not?
100%. I mean, it could not be more true. That is it.
Yeah, I mean, and even a guy like Jordan Spieth.
What if
Even a guy like Jordan Spieth wins one of the first
what
two,
if he
makes
finishes second? What if he loses in a playoff in Memphis? You're telling me that his name's not going to get kicked around like a soccer ball?
It absolutely will.
At Caves Valley?
Absolutely it will.
Okay, so Keegan Bradley being on the team requires what from him? Anything quantitatively? A top 10 in one of the next two?
Yeah,
events?
I think he needs a couple solid weeks. I think he needs a couple really solid weeks. I don't know if you need to put a number on it, but
okay. Do you really think that Webb Simpson's going to say, "Hey, man, that 21st ain't enough. We met, and we think you need to step aside"? Like, these guys are not going to tell him that he's got to bypass himself, are they?
No, they are not. Absolutely not going to. Keegan knows it already. I think Keegan thinks if he can go out and win both of the first two events, he is defending champion at BMW. Would that give him enough points to get into the top six?
I would absolutely. So. Yeah. He's 10th right now. Yeah. He would launch himself into that auto spot. I think they think he's on the team, right?
I think they do.
And barring him just being, that's the other part of this, like, I get it, form is what it is, but then these guys are, many of them, not going to play any golf from the end of August until they turn up at Bethpage at the end of September. I get it, form is a factor. I don't think it should be as big a factor to me. Do you guys think it's that big a deal?
I think form is, and I think when you look at current form last year, or last Ryder Cup, getting passed over with Cam Young, Keegan Bradley, Lucas Glover getting picked for. Spieth was 8, so it was
Thomas.
It was Thomas, Fowler, Burns. No, Burns would have been in there, but they went away from current form and went with Old Boys Club.
They did.
They got dump trucked. And like I think Keegan, he's going to change that.
You do, but isn't Morikawa and Cantlay and potentially Burns, isn't that Old Boys Club?
Yes, it is.
So he's succumbing to the same thing that
if he picks those.
Yeah.
Morikawa's right on the bubble of.
But what if he shows no form?
Then I think
he has no form going beyond just a couple of events. This is changing caddies. This is scratching along during those summer months.
I think form is absolutely massive, and we talked about this last night. I think there is nothing worse than showing up to an event like this and you're struggling. You're trying to find something. Yeah. You've got all these obligations. You've got to go do dinners. You've got to go be here. You don't really have the ability to go and put yourself aside for a few hours and try and find something. You need to come in there playing some good golf. You don't want to have to try and find something in the pressure cooker of a Ryder Cup environment. So I think form is massive.
So what does Cam Young have to do? Another top 10? More than that?
I think he moved to 14th or 15th. Like,
move into the top 12.
Yeah. Top 12.
I think so.
That'd be a big move. I mean, it would absolutely.
It's going to take another good
top 10, if not two top 10s. Yeah. Okay. Chris Gotterup, who entered the chat when he won the Scottish, and then I thought playing with Rory is far more impressive than a third alone, but still third alone at the Open after. I thought was like, okay, wow. And then he goes to 3M and he's gassed. And he asked for a late Pro-Am tee time on Wednesday because he was just totally fried. And he still digs it out and top 10's there. He's 20th. What does he have to do?
I think if he has one, maybe two top 10s in the 3, I mean, we're talking 30, 50, and 70 players. It's like top 10's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he needs to get a couple more high finishes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these bottom 6 guys have still got 3 weeks to figure it out because they're not going to get picked until after the Tour Championship. So yeah, I mean, 3 solid weeks. I don't know. I said this earlier that Cam Young, Chris Gotterup, I think you end up picking one of them. Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay, I think you end up picking one of them.
The thing about Goddard, when I had him on the show last week, if you go back, it all really started. He shot 64 in the final round at the Nelson. Then he shot 65 at Myrtle Beach, defending there. He finished in the top 25 at the U.S. Open. Like, he was building.
Yeah.
This was not like, well, he was 52nd and 41st and shows up at the Scottish and I'll be a son of a gun. Like, he was building. But yeah, I mean, those 3 weeks are really encapsulate his candidacy. Can Ben Griffin and Cam Young and Chris Gollerup all be on the team?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
You're not saying you wouldn't do it. You're saying it's not going to happen.
I'm saying it's not going to happen. I just don't. When you look at J.J. Spawn, he's on the team.
Yes.
U.S. Open champ. Yep. He's a veteran, but he's also a rookie. Russell Henley played great at the President's Cup with Scottie Scheffler as a partner last year. He's entered a new level of his career. He's consistent. He is making the Ryder Cup on points. He's a Ryder Cup rookie. I just don't think you can take a chance. And you've also got McNeely and Novak. And I know your feeling on rookies, but I think 3 to 4 is the most you can have, and you've already got 2 automatic qualifiers.
If Burns is on the team and Henley's on the team, do we have a Love Island situation with Sheffler? I mean, what do we do here? How do we resolve this? Do we have like an obstacle course? Do we have like a? I mean,
I'd put Henley with Scheffler.
Henley and Scheffler played great together.
So good.
Yes.
I mean, they played great together in Royal Montreal. I think they can play well in alt shot and in best ball. I love that.
What does Burns have to do to be on the team?
He needs to win, unfortunately.
You do. You think he requires a win? Do you agree with that?
I do.
It's been a while since he's won.
Yeah.
Colonial?
Yeah, he lost in that playoff to Ryan Fox, but hasn't won for a while. I think he's 15 at the moment, maybe 16 at the moment.
He's 14 or 16.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the European side with guys in the playoffs that could alter their roster at all? Or is it absolutely, what if Thomas Dietrich won another golf tournament? No?
I mean, sure, yes, but he hasn't done much. I don't think Dietrich's on my dark horse to do anything.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's fair. I can't paint any scenario where the guys that we think are going to be on that team are not going to be on that team.
Right.
I love it. I love the fact that they're bringing the same crew.
And I think having to pick Rahm is a big deal. Like, he's a must-pick player, and not having that extra pick for someone else.
Yeah.
I think Luke would like to have at least an option. Not that it wouldn't be the same exact team, but it may be slightly different.
Okay. Anything else you want to get to before you need to wrap it up, like the TV professional that you are?
Brendan, anything you need to talk about?
No, I think we got it all covered there.
All right, well, we appreciate you tuning in.
Talking to the right camping, damn it.
We appreciate it. I'm all nervous. Thanks for listening to the Wagyu Filet podcast. Brendan DeYoung, Johnson Wagner. I'd like to thank our special guest, Gary Williams. We will be back with more Wagyu Filet podcasts sometime down the road.